Hi, thank you very much for joining me. I'm going to be doing a book reading. There have been some of you who requested one, and great idea, truly. So I'm going to be reading Chapter 1 of Just Alex. Here it is. My name is Alicia Rose, and we're going to be reading... yes, I have a mouse in my pocket. I'm going to be reading Chapter 1 in this book that I wrote in 2010, and I'm very excited to share this with you. So, here we go. Unexpectedly, a tall, blonde-haired, slender, yet medium-built man walked into her vision, startling her, causing Alex to scream louder and thrash in the chair thing as if trying to break the bands. The very handsome man eyed her with his seaweed green eyes compassionately, with a closed-lipped smile that brought the word arrogant to Alex's mind. The man seemed smug and self-assured. Handsome is as handsome does. Alex reminded herself, continuing to scream. She would not cooperate, especially if this was some kind of trick to coerce her into becoming a dissident. Dissidents did not get to see their children forever. "Fear not," the man yelled above her scream and clapped his hands together loudly. "Please refrain thy caterwauling, Alexandria." Alex stopped in mid-scream. The man's English that he used was archaic, before the United Earth Coalition, and older than the 22nd century. She had viewed movies with this English in them, depicting some time in the early 20th or 19th century, or had it been supposedly earlier in the films? Her fear and panic prevented Alex from remembering exactly. It had been over 19 years since she had seen those types of films. Where had the time gone? No danger shall befall you here," the man interrupted her drifting thoughts. "Comprehend?" Yes, Alex had understood what the man had said. No, she would not believe him. This man was her captor. This had to be a trick to lull her into complacency. No, Alex deep down inside knew that to believe one's captor was pure folly. Alex screamed more. This man was a stranger. Had the Freedom Party decided she was a dissident? Why was she here? What did they think she knew? If it had anything to do with Stephen, her deceased husband, she would definitely never cooperate. How could she? Stephen had kept all of his dirty little secrets to himself. Alex had despised her husband for so many things, mostly the things he kept from her. Where was she? What was she attached? What was going to happen to her? What were they planning to do to her? How did she get here? She felt something stick her right arm like a needle. She screamed the best scream she could muster, the loudest, most ear-splitting one. Her scream reverberated off of the walls. She heard the man say something foreign in a language she did not recognize. The room blurred and uncomfortably spun. Then darkness engulfed her as she took one last screaming gasp. Anton sighed heavily as his princess slumped into unconsciousness. The sedative had been last resort. He knew her waking up could have become positive or negative. The negative reaction of screaming was not typical Ursissian, but human, too human. He sighed again, wondering if his queen was asking too much. Her daughter had been residing with humans since infancy. Yes, for her protection. But the years residing on Earth had cost their princess her heritage, her being Ursician. It was his duty to do his queen's bidding. Even his parents, before their demise, had explained what was expected of him. An earl of the Ursician Federation, he had been chosen by his royalty to protect their princess from harm, even at the price of his life. Anton had bestowed his word as a faithful subject to his sovereigns, the king and queen of the Ursician Federation. He had given his word as a dutiful son to his father on his father's deathbed, accepting his role as earl. The memory of his father's life, ebbing into death, was still very emotional and sad. He had adored his parents, both deceased. King Avery had emphasized that he was the best Ursician for the position because he was a renowned behaviorist, well respected and titled. Anton was the foremost expert throughout the Ursician Federation on human behavior. It was why he had been handpicked to reside on the planet Earth for the duration the princess would be there as her protector. No, Alexandria did not know of his presence, and neither did the entire planet known as Earth. Anton had to remain undetectable to all on Earth in order to accomplish his sworn duties correctly and expediently. Princess Alexandria's life depended upon his abilities as her protector. Gently, he removed the bands that immobilized her. The sleeping princess was a blessing. After the infernal screaming, it was not the way he had planned their first encounter. Alexandria had not reacted as he had hoped. She had reacted humanly, like an earthling. He should have expected it. Humans raised by wolves did not act like civilized humans. This was the first Ursician to be raised by an earthling couple, chosen by himself and his cousin Artie. They had vouched for the couple. The king and queen had agreed to relinquish their last born to the planet Earth into this particular couple's care for rearing. Anton was still uncertain. Anton was still uncertain the implanter's implant of information had been successful. The mind had refused to assimilate the information placed into the brain by the implanter. The conscious and the subconscious mind had to accept the implanted information for the procedure to be successful. It was too early to tell if Princess Alexandria's mind would willingly accept the implant. Most Ursicians' minds did, but who could predict this particular circumstance? Charting new territory of this type made Anton a little uneasy, mostly because he was employing the implanter upon their princess, the only princess of the Ursician Federation, the one person in the universe whose fate determined his. Thank you very much for spending the time with me and allowing me to share Chapter 1 from Just Alex with you. Blessings and have a wonderful day.